Hi everybody, welcome to another video. This one's been on the back burner for a little while actually. I uploaded a video of priming this. It's actually a kid's buggy, but obviously the principle for preparing plastic, spraying plastic, etc, is the same for whether it's a car bumper or fender. You know, if it's a plastic bike tank, fairing, whatever, it's exactly the same. So I thought it's worth showing it to you. But the main reason for doing it was to try out the new AZ4 that I'd got. That is right, no, AZ4. Yeah, they do it a funny way round. The AZ3 is the bigger gun, the AZ4 is a smaller one. So it's the AZ4 Impact Junior. Now this is a 1.3 tip, and this is literally the first time I'd used it, apart from, you know, trying it with a bit of thinners to see how it sprayed basically before I went to use it. So I can honestly say that it's quite a physically big gun really. So although I think it's classed as a mini gun, I would class it as a midi gun, if that makes sense, somewhere between a mini and a full-size gun. So if it's your only gun, maybe with the exception of a primer gun, but if it's your only spray gun, it might well be a good option, because as I say, it's between the two really. So if you don't want something that's too big but don't want something that's too small, it may well be ideal. Now I started off using this, I mean, typical man really. My missus would say, my wife would say, typical man, you know, you don't read the instructions, you just dive in there and use it, which is what we all do, isn't it? You know, that's what we do. You read the instructions afterwards, which we all tend to do anyway, I think. Well, a lot of us do. I do. So I got it out and I thought, well, I'll spray it at 2 bar to see how it goes, and maybe play around with it if something's, you know, not quite right. And it was okay. I mean, I'm narrating this video afterwards, and this is quite a bit afterwards, like a few months afterwards. You know, when you see the videos going up, obviously they're not always fresh. Sometimes they are, but a lot of the times they aren't. They may well have been around for a month or two. So it's not always what it seems is the wrong word. It's not always in order, if that makes sense. So I try and keep everything that you know, if I'm doing an unboxing, I do an unboxing before I use the gun. But as I say, I'm narrating this quite a while afterwards, so I've got a fair bit more information on this gun than I had when I was doing this. And as I say, I set it at 2 bar because I thought, well, that's what it will be, because most guns go at 2 bar or 1 bar, and then you can adjust slightly up, slightly down, or whatever for the finish you want, or, you know, whatever suits you, your speed, or whatever really. You sort of start at a basic setting and maybe just play around. And I've only recently started fitting gauges to the guns again, only so that I can tell you guys what pressure I'm using, so that you get an idea of, you know, if you're just starting, maybe you get an idea of what pressure to use. So that's the reason I've started using gauges again. And another reason was that I went through a phase of using more or less exclusively mini guns, and I forgot about my bigger guns. And it's funny because you sort of forget about the bigger guns and start using mini guns. And the mini guns I just set up by hand. You can put, you know, your hand in front and you think, yeah, that's about enough, and maybe just adjust it off. And I had no idea really of what pressure I was spraying at. So when, you know, I give you guys an idea, I thought, well, I'll put a gauge on it. And as I say, the other reason was I started using some of the bigger guns to use on the channel, and just to give a bit more of a varied range, I suppose, of equipment that I'm using. And I was getting some peely finishes by doing it by hand, and it's because you spent so long judging mini guns. When you get a big gun in front of you, you're not putting enough pressure on there. So I slung a gauge at it, and I was trying like at 1 bar or 14 psi, when they're supposed to, the manufacturer recommends about 2 bar or thereabouts. You know, you twiddle it to suit your needs. So I've been putting a gauge on, so for 2 reasons, as I say. One, so I can tell you the pressure, and one, it gives me a much better idea with the bigger guns. If you was using 1 gun or a couple of guns all the time, you'd probably again be able to do away with it. But as I say, we are where we are. So about the gun anyway, before I rabbit on about nothing. Yeah, if this was if I was narrating this after just doing this video, I would give it probably, well, not a thumbs down, but I wouldn't give it a rave review, if that makes sense, because I was a little bit disappointed. You know, I didn't know quite what to expect. I got it very cheap with an AZ4, so I wasn't, you know, it doesn't owe me anything really, but I was expecting maybe a little bit more of this. There's not that many reviews on the internet about this, on YouTube, about this gun, and you know, the couple that I have found were quite raving about it, and I was quite underwhelmed. I mean, this is clear coat now, but I used it for base and clear on this just to get an idea of, you know, what it's like for both, and that's what most people use it for. You use it for both because, you know, a lot of people that are watching this are amateurs, so you don't necessarily have the funds to go out and buy a clear gun and a base gun, you know, separate dedicated guns. So I thought I'd use it for both, and as I say, I was a little bit underwhelmed with it, and you know, I read the instructions afterwards, and it says that you should spray it at 2.5 bar, not 2 bar. So I've used it a few times after this, which is one of the benefits of, as I say, of narrating afterwards, and I've been really impressed with this thing. So this finish, I mean, it's a kid's toy. Admittedly, it's my grandson, so it's quite an important kid, but it's a kid's toy, and it did admirably well, but I was a little bit underwhelmed. But since that time, I've used it on a few other things, and I've got some of it on video as well, so I will upload them. But I've been really impressed with it, so much so that I think it's sort of right up there with most of the guns, and the fact that it's an in-between, as I say, a midi gun, as far as I'm concerned, it only adds to its charms, because it can really lay it on there if you want it to, and if you want to take it easy, you can do. As I say, this is a 1.3 tip, and they do it in quite a lot of different tips as well, but I thought, you know, 1.3 would be a good for clear and okay for base, and as I say, I didn't have a load of choice over it really, so I was quite happy to go for a 1.3, and I've been really impressed. It really lays the clear down nicely, not so much in this video, as I say, because I wasn't quite up to speed on it, but it really does lay the clear down nicely, so very impressed with it, and I'll get some other videos up. You'll see a couple of pictures at the end here. I used the same gun to spray the black. When you see it all together, there's some black parts with used in the same gun, so I was quite impressed. The seat does look a bit chunky, but that was the effect I was after, for a bit of grip. Okay everybody, hope you enjoyed the video. Bye bye.